Okay, welcome everyone to Audit Circle Fund 7 Meeting 6, the final meeting of Audit Circle, and we just jump straight into the agenda, and then afterwards we'll have an informal discussion with the recording off, but we'll just get on down to the business straight away, and I'll sort out the attendee list here, and we just go straight to Treasury. Any updates from Treasury?
There's enough data in the wallet to pay for the meeting minutes of this meeting,
Right.
and for one town hall slides.
Yeah,
and then there's about 125 ADA left, and then IOG has one final installment that's going to come in.
at $4,000.
Yes, 4,233.
Okay, that's about 4,223, something like that.
4,000, yes, 233.
33. Okay.
Yes.
Now, okay, so that's okay. Thanks for that, Andre. So that's really, I mean, it's a very modest budget, but that's what we have. But I don't think we have. I mean, Megan, I think we're going to pay Megan. Town hall slides, we get onto that subject in a minute.
Yes, that's all that's left.
But Megan may be doing the minutes from the recording. I'm not sure if she's at consensus or something, or if she's in traveling. Is that right, Vanessa? She might be on the road somewhere. Anyway.
Shit.
Is my connection bad?
Yeah, your connection is bad.
Yeah. Am I back in service?
Yes.
I'm okay. Well, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay, I was saying that Megan. We think. Well, I think Megan's on the road. Is that right, Vanessa?
I'm not sure. I'm just assuming she's at consensus. To be honest.
Okay, but that's okay. She can do the minutes from the recording, and the town hall slides we'll discuss in a minute, and then we have that 4,200 left to divide amongst ourselves once we've done the report. Okay, so yes. moving on to town hall slides. I kind of took.
Sorry, Stephen. It's not just a report; it's also the closing video, which has to be funded out of that.
Yes. Yeah, everything has to be funded out of that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but when okay, right on to
just a quick question on that. Are we? I mean, presumably we can just. Are we going to present the final report in town hall, and then that's a video?
Yeah, I mean we can discuss that when we get onto the discussion of the final report agenda item. Yeah. So, but if just on the subject of the town hall slides, I didn't pursue the town hall slides yesterday, Ron, apologies for that. But I was thinking I did have a kind of reason for that. And that's because I thought we'd hold it back because we only have one opportunity.
That's what I was thinking too.
And I was thinking maybe last night would not have been the best time to do it. Yeah, so you seem to be thinking along the same lines. Yeah, so
yeah, and there was no way I could have been there yesterday anyway. So, but yeah, I was thinking we'd do it just like Vanessa said.
Yeah,
the final report.
So that would then fund the final report part of that. For maybe you can host the final report in some way, Ron.
Sure, and I'm open to anyone else that wants to join me.
Yeah,
maybe we can tag team it.
Okay, and then, so there is a portion for that. Okay, on the project board, we are, well, given what we have there for considering what our meager budget, whether we had planned a retrospective. I think this is a retrospective of ourselves. I'm not sure of that one. But in progress, which we're going to discuss now, is I'll just quickly run through an external survey, the production of a report overall, 2 forms of qualitative data gathering, one from Matthias and one from me and Torsten and me, and possibly, as Ron mentioned, a internal survey. But if we can discuss that when we get on to that. So moving on to the final report, the first thing, the bulk of the work that's gone into it is the quality, sorry, do this in order. Okay, the first thing is 2 survey deliverables. One was quality data gathering that Matthias did. And Matthias, the bulk of this was coming from Let's Talk About Reporting, the Gimbal Lab playground session. What I've done is it is uploaded to YouTube, but we have it in our backlog to document, so we can run it through a transcript and document it. And that way we can, it's a really interesting conversation. There's a lot that's being said in that session. I'm not sure if you agree, Matthias, that could be used to report on, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a process to do, and then run it through and supplement that with some of the other conversations I had that I have concrete notes.
What I suggest is that, I mean, it's going to, you know, we have a bit of a work backlog. That's why there was a slight delay. But
just on that, I've just started the documentation of that.
Thanks. There's a lot. It's on the way. But what I was going to suggest is, once that's done, Matthias, maybe we can share that with you, and we can then create an issue where we discuss, you can add material in, and then we can work out a discussion of how that can be supporting materials for the report. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Great, thank you.
Let's make that note for myself. So that's that part of the report. The second, for quality data gathering, the other aspect of quality data gathering, we did try and do an after town hall last week, didn't we, Torsten, with SWOT analysis of monthly reports, and unfortunately no one turned up, and it's all very sad. You know, we sat there very lonely, and but these things happen, and me and Torsten have had conversations about whether we should do that again or not, given the time and the resources. Where do you think we're at that, Torsten? Do you think, because I have started running through, we did do an after town hall update quite a few months ago now, but that was again quite a useful conversation. I've run that through Otter AI. We have a transcript of it, which I've just posted in Discord, Torsten, which we could use to make a more,
Yeah, I saw that.
more detailed, like what we do with Matthias. Eric is here actually. What do you think? Is that enough, or do you want to do another after town hall?
To be very honest, I'm undecided, because it depends very much effectively whom you are pitching against, and audit is something which people kind of don't flock to if there's other more interesting topics. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, we can put it in, but it doubles the effort at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah. Another approach is, hi Eric, we're just, thanks for coming. We're at the agenda item where we're discussing how we're feeding into our final report, and we're just discussing 2 qualitative items, and onto the second one where we're discussing a kind of SWOT analysis after town hall. Vanessa, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I understand what you're saying, Torsten, about competing with lots of things. Have we thought about taking it to another town hall?
Yeah, that's exactly the discussion, whether we should take it to the next week's after town hall. And
No,
I'm
I mean to another town hall.
Another
African
one.
Town hall,
So
Eastern Town Hall.
Oh, the Eastern Tunnel, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Megan. Thanks for joining us.
could do. I mean, the SWOT in itself is prepared. We have a mirror board prepared. It's pretty
Yeah.
much just kind of putting the time in. But what comes along with this is you then would have to kind of pull things out from there. Yeah, so that's the reason why I said it doubles effectively the work, because you still have to eat up the other after town hall. That shouldn't hold us up, but yeah, could do.
Another approach is we could do it as a standalone meeting away from town halls altogether, and then advertise that in advance, maybe.
Or would
I
it
mean-
work as a swarm even?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, could work.
Do you want to think about it and we give ourselves a deadline until the end of the week, Torsten? Because we're really going to have to come
Yeah, I
to
will have a
some-
quick chat with Felix, what he has lined up in this meetings on the Saturday. And if he doesn't have anything, then yeah, we could probably sneak into that one, because there are a few people flocking up there anyhow, and that is normally a crowd which has an opinion, let me put it this way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to support you on that, but we're going to need at least three or four people, probably, aren't we, to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm happy to give it a go. If no one turns up again, then we'll just, you know,
Good, then we ditch it.
then we ditch it. But we do have something. We have it's not great, but it's something. We do have some material from April that we can transcribe and put into.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll do the similar sort of thing that we did with Matthias. We'll summarize that and then put it into the final report as a kind of summary, and then we do a discussion about that as well.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, moving on to where the lot of the work's been done on the external survey. Vanessa, Ron, Phil, or Ron, would like to discuss this at all?
I mean, yeah, I mean, we got 46 respondents, which is all right, I guess.
Yeah.
I was hoping for over 30, so we hit it.
I know. Woohoo. Well, no, we were technically aiming for 100. That was the ridiculous comment that I made before we started it. So I never said.
Yeah, unless we incentivize that, I don't think we ever gonna get that.
Yeah.
But it is quite interesting that it seems to me from looking, I haven't looked in real depth, but it feels like a lot of the respondents are kind of community engagement projects, social impact projects, all that. So maybe that's the type of person that answers surveys, but it does leave me thinking, well, maybe we're not covering the range. But I've written a really rough document, and Ron and Phil are in it as well, and we're just kind of trying to pull together an analysis. So we'll have that for what's our actual date for completing the final report?
Well, I've actually, the rough date is the end of June, but I can't. It was originally the end of May, but
Yeah, right.
As soon as possible. I mean, now it's becoming more urgent because this is the final meeting, so obviously we're not funded anymore. And as soon as we do the closing report is when we'll get paid. I know it's not a great deal of money, but
okay, well, what I'm thinking is, I mean, Phil's not here, is he? But Ron, do you think us three are okay to kind of, or does anybody want to come in on it? I'm sort of feeling that maybe too many cooks make it really complicated,
Right.
But if somebody wants to jump in, then that's brilliant.
Do you want to do a quick run through of what you have already, Vanessa?
It might take a bit of time, but if we feel we've got time for that, then I can do.
Yeah,
yes.
I think we do have.
I would actually rather take the time to talk about the internal survey, and then maybe we can backtrack to, because
Yeah, I think it would be better to we all come with our assessment information that we've gathered, and then we have a meeting just specifically on that, and then anybody that wants to join can do that.
Yeah.
If you have access to the agenda, can you drop a link into the document in the agenda then, or under the
Yeah.
external survey? Yeah. Okay, so we seem to have a consensus to say it's a work in progress, and you're going to work from that document that you just referred to. Then, yeah. And we'll move on to, which is a brand new item really, and it's been there since the beginning of the proposal. And that's an internal survey. And what this means is we approach IOG to do an internal survey, particularly on monthly reporting. Now, so IOG have actually effectively committed to this already. When I had prior conversations with that, as far as I understand it, the person responsible for monthly reporting is Khalid. Is that right, Vanessa? I think.
As far as I know, yeah, yeah.
And I know there's been moving around now in IOG. I think Harris is moving on to Voltaire, and you know, so I'm not sure who we should be talking to. There's obviously so maybe we can have some suggestions about that. Have another Matthias.
I'll talk to Harris quickly then to have the in-rails, and then he can hand us over to whoever is kind of carrying that.
It wouldn't be Harris. It would be Danny or Chris who would give us the intro into that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's. Well, first of all, do we want to do this? What should we be asking? Who should we be asking? What, you know?
Well, on what we should be asking, because if we do want to do it, maybe it would help us decide if we want to do it. If I just can share screen and share the document that we've got some ideas for the questions.
Do I need to make you
right.
co-host? Make host. Okay, you should be able to do it now.
Thank you.
Oh, I need to end the screen share. Oh
yes, you do, don't you?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, I think I can just go over. Okay.
I think I have to stop and you have to stop. I don't know.
I think I can just go over you, but still.
Okay. Well, we'll do it this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a document which I put a link to somewhere, and I think it's only me that's added stuff so far, but I have shared it and gone, come on, add things. But this is just extrapolated from various conversations that we've had in meetings. So it was things like the stuff about questions in the monthly report having been changed without consultation. The questions we had about what's all this focus about, are you going to produce a token? And kind of what was the thinking behind that? There was the overarching question of, is the monthly reporting intended as a form of audit or not really? Because a lot of people seem to feel it doesn't really work as audit. So if it's not that, then what is it? What is it supposed to be? Another question that came up a couple of times is, over all the funds so far, how many proposals actually have? I know for ourselves we could go dig in and take a lot of time to do people's perception of that and like how big an issue they feel it is.
Yeah.
There was a question on, do you think proposals with low budget should have a different level of reporting obligations than high budgets? And I kind of think that's really important as we approach Fund 9 with an 8 million challenge coming, because that's
Can I ask you on one
proposals?
Can I ask you on one thing?
Well, let me just go through these because there's only two more. We were wondering about maybe asking the perennial audit of outcomes question from IOG's point of view, and we wondered about, something like, what would you all to see in terms of some kind of dashboard or something where reporting info can be made public? Do. Sorry to.
Yeah, the question 5, I would turn that around. I would say, what do you think that proposals with high budget should have different reporting obligations from proposals with low ones? The reason for that is, I think for low ones, the reporting could potentially be considered fine, but for the high ones, it's actually, it's a little bit opinionating it then, but it's more kind of at least my perception is that there is a understanding, wrong word, perception that the high budgets, this reporting is not appropriate.
My concern here with these questions is some of them are.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of the.
I mean, I think what I'm going to suggest is. What I was going to suggest is that we don't dig into the details of the questions now, because I don't know if we've got time. So what I'm thinking is, if we see that, does it make us think, yes, we want to do an internal survey? And if so, maybe we could just, whoever's interested could come into that document and actually we could shape some questions and we could set a date now for a meeting to invite them to.
I mean, from my perspective, it would be very, very useful, because there is obviously two different viewpoints. And the question which then derives from that one is, how far are these viewpoints apart? Yeah, because there is clearly a perception from the wider community on this topic, and there's a perception from IOG on the topic. And I sense that this is not necessarily aligned.
Yeah. I think some of the, I think I agree with that. We should probably look at the document and the questions asynchronously before arranging a meeting with IOG, if we're going to do that. Some of the questions immediately are not really relevant to IOG, because they'll be community questions, like they're more opinions that they would then refer back to the community. I sense, but that is something maybe to look at, looking at the document, more considered terms. So I'd encourage everyone here to look at this document. Maybe also you could paste a link to this document, Vanessa, in the agenda as well.
Sure, I'm going to stop sharing now, and then I'll just put a link to it in.
Yeah. Vanessa, can you also put the link to the external survey questions in, if you have them? Because I think it would be sensible to find kind of a back-to-back.
Okay, it's already in Discord. I think they're both in Discord, but I'll put them together somewhere in the agenda. How's that?
Yeah,
it would be perfect.
That'd be great. But on the other point you made, Vanessa, on okay, so we look at that document. That's great work, thanks, because that gives us something to ask. I suppose the next question is, what kind of meeting would we want with IOG, and who would be there? Any opinions about that? Megan. Megan's got.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything. I'm just trying to get my headphones to work properly, and it's not working with the system. I'm just pushing buttons and accidentally tapped the raise hand.
Okay, fair enough.
Stephen, could you? I think the agenda doesn't have edit access. Could you?
All right. Okay, I'll give you. I'll post edit access in the chat actually. Yeah, I think I was concerned with.
I'll just add it as a comment. It's fine. Don't worry.
No, I'll do that then. So then we'll just put it in chat so that anyone can. There you go. You can then comment away at your heart's desire, or edit away at your heart's desire now. But the okay, so there was no response to that. I mean, what we did with Community Governance Oversight on a sort of similar issue is that we did get a meeting with IOG, and there was a group of us there. In that case, it was we actually posted some details of that today and yesterday with Harris Warren, and he answered some questions on, in that case, it was on parameters changes. So there's, I think IOG could be up for that. And maybe that is the format we would want. What's people's views on that?
So what you're saying is we give them the questions up front and they have ability to prepare, but we have then effectively a Zoom meeting where they can answer, or?
Yeah, I mean, well, there's a couple of options we could put to them. We could give them the questions, well, after we've worked on them together and discussed them.
Right.
And then they could come back with a written response like they did. They've done that before with, for example, the questions on DRAPs. Do you remember that? It came back with a written response. Do you think that that could be sufficient? We could just leave it at that. Or we could request a physical meeting like this and record it. And that would also, maybe they could bring the answers to the questions with them, or we could have a more extended conversation about it.
I like the idea of having the meeting. We give them the questions beforehand and then they bring them and then we have a meeting.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure that what they're going to say, Ron, but yeah. So we give them the questions.
We can at least request it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then request a meeting afterwards. So request a meeting after they have answered, or afterwards, to discuss or something, maybe. Not sure how we frame it. Discuss issues raised, maybe. Would that be more fruitful, do you think? More productive?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, my opinion on their response to the DRAPs was, yes, it was an answer, but it was, it was an answer, period. It was not really very dialogish in itself. So I think the community would appreciate if there would be a video also that would give more ability to share than just a document. So you could put it effectively onto YouTube, and then people might be able to watch it. Or you put it in a channel somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Ron, you have some thoughts on that? Or
I was just saying, yeah, I agree.
okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, what you said there are more of a dialogue, Torsten. And what do you think, Eric? Is there, I mean, I think if we ask for a meeting and it's recorded, then that gives somewhat, something for people to watch.
If they're okay with that, then I think that would be great. Sometimes it's nice to not give questions ahead of time, so you get like a unrehearsed response. But for something like this, I think it makes sense to give it to them so they can think about and have prepared answers instead of going off the top of their heads.
Cool.
Yeah, let them think about it, and then we can just have the dialogue and then get more like their insights like in real time.
And in general, the question number 3 that Vanessa had on there, where it was asking like, what is the purpose or what are they trying to get out of the reporting that we do every month? I thought that was a really good one. Like I'll go through and add a couple of things on there as well, but I think that's a really good area to dig into in general.
Yeah, I mean, so I mean, that could be quite productive if they, if they engage. Hopefully, they will engage, and I mean, we can present it to them as something positive in how we frame, as you say, if we do some work on those questions and Vanessa's document, and we present that in a kind of, kind of neutral way, then we can just start a dialogue on it. Vanessa.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when everyone gets into that document, we probably want to keep the meeting quite focused and quite short. So let's prioritize and let's kind of, if you've got a favorite question, like Eric just said, he thought that one was good, put it up at the top, and then we can kind of, do you see what I mean? So because I don't think we need to have all of them that we've got in that document at the moment. I think we should maybe have like 5 or 6 or something, 5 maybe.
Okay, so work on a selection, work on a selection of the existing questions.
No, I was saying add some as well if people want to add some.
Oh,
but
okay.
Let's prioritize. So if you've got one that you think is particularly good that's there, put it to the top, cut it, paste it at the top.
Okay.
Well, that sounds like a plan. do we want to set a deadline for the document, Vanessa? Shall we say end of next week? For the document, which would be around the 17th of June. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good to me. Yeah, I'm just like looking at Matthias has got his hand up, so I was just.
Oh, Matthias, sorry, I didn't
interested.
see there. Sorry. Go on, Matthias.
I think you're muted, Matthias. I can't hear you.
Or you're muted, or you've dropped off, Matthias. I think you're muted. Yeah. Moving on. Okay. Technical issues. Okay. If you've got any comments, put them in the chat, and Matthias, we can add them maybe that way, or directly into the thing. So if we set a deadline for the document the 17th of June. Oh, I can hear you now, Matthias.
Yeah, sorry about that. My microphone is airing out. I wanted to suggest a hybrid approach in communicated with IoT for the internal survey.
Yeah.
So I would like to suggest to send them all of the questions that are in the document that Vanessa provided.
Yeah.
And get a written response and then have a discussion based on that, because I am making an assumption here that some of the things that they'll report might need some clarification, and we can have discussion around those topics. I think it's also important to have IoT also be more accountable to whatever decisions they make, and having something in writing and helping them, do the right thing would be good.
Vanessa, you have your hand up. So.
I think that's a really nice idea, but I'm just a little concerned about what happens if they don't reply and we're kind of like, yeah, we want to get the report written. Come on. I think, do you know what I mean? In terms of time, it might be easier for them to come to a meeting than to write something. I don't know.
And would we expect all four of them to provide written responses, or would one of them do it on behalf of all of them?
No, it's going to be either one, maybe. I'll just put those names as possible people who could be there, but it's going to be. We're probably looking for Khalid actually, or TK, who are mostly. I think particularly Khalid, who is responsible for the reporting. There, in answer to your concerns, Matthias, there is a kind of accountability about being present at a recorded meeting. It's not exactly the same as having a written response, but it does put someone on the spot, and we will transcribe and fully document that meeting. So it would be on the record. As Vanessa says, we may be, be hanging on their word, if you like, if we wait for their written response.
That's why the discussion is important, because then we can clarify anything that if we get in the written response we're not understanding fully.
Yeah. I mean, we can contact them. I don't think we should wait to contact them for the deadline of the document. I think I will contact. I might ask Danny for advice, but I'm going to maybe contact Khalid directly and then maybe copy Danny in. So, and then say what we're going to do essentially. And then if we could arrange a meeting for the week after the 17th. Okay, so which just takes us to the last week of June, obviously. So that gives, if I do that this week or immediately, then they'll have some time to arrange that, and then we'll just tell them that we'll give them the document from the 17th. Yeah.
So are you suggesting the week of the 20th for the actual meeting then?
Yeah, I mean, unless do you think that's going to be too little time for their perspective? Or
I don't know, but I'm just thinking if it was the week of the 20th, that then gives us time to summarise and transcribe the meeting so it can go in the final report before the end of June. That's what I'm
yeah,
thinking.
I mean, the end of June is our deadline, and I'm hoping we don't slip from that. But you know, yeah, I mean, even that is not completely set in stone. But so they may come back just to say they want more time. Essentially, that's what I'm thinking. So, but we can ask them because to arrange the meeting from the 20th. So the week of the 20th. Yeah. Is everyone happy with that? Should you want to go back to the external survey discussion, or are we happy with that as well? We're going to also work off a document there as well, yeah?
I'm sorry, what did you say again?
Sorry, for the external survey, we're working off a document there as well, yes?
So we're working off the responses of the survey, and then we have a couple. I think we all probably have our own documents we started for our own assessments.
Okay.
Vanessa shared her initial one already.
Okay. What do we? I mean, going back to your previous comment, Vanessa, do you think we should have also scheduling a kind of final meeting to review, our inputs into a final report?
I mean, yeah, probably to pull it all together. I mean, I'm just conscious of like meetings,
I know.
I mean, yeah, we probably could do with that, couldn't we? I mean, actually, going back to the external survey, can we set a deadline by which we will have something written and ready to go into the final report? I think that would just help focus our minds a bit. I mean, this is kind of me, Ron and Phil at the moment, but if anybody else wants to jump in as well. But Ron, what do you think is realistic? I don't know.
Let's see. I mean, we can check with Phil, but I mean, I'd probably be okay if you had time tomorrow to at least for us three to get together and review, just go over what our initial assessments were, and then maybe also by the 17th,
Yeah,
have
that sounds good to me. Yeah.
have our sort. Yeah, I'd say by the 17th is okay for me.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's put that then.
And that's nice and tidy, so that puts also a deadline for that document for the 17th, so that makes it nice and easy to work out. And then I think, I mean, we can do a lot of this asynchronously, so but then we do need to put it all together at some point. So I mean, that's obviously going to be dependent on the meeting with IOG. So if is it worthwhile arranging a meeting now, or should we do that offline in Discord and wait until the response from IOG and then say have a meeting a week after that or something? Because we need to, if we have a meeting with IOG, we're still going to have to record the meeting with IOG, document it, all that kind of stuff. So we need to digest all that, and then we would have a final meeting where we put it all together. Well, something will be put together, and then we can review what we have. Yeah,
I would agree with that.
Okay, so provisionally it will be a final review meeting will be a week, approximately a week after meeting with IOG. Okay, so it's not set, we don't have a fixed date. It's going to be dependent on that. Of course, if they don't meet with us, that's obviously going to change the situation. Okay, is there any questions or thoughts about that at all? Okay. To Fund 7 proposal reporting, I submitted a monthly report. It didn't really say much, but it's there, the link, and I'll do. I actually was in a bit of a rush. Actually, I was a bit lazy, and I put not applicable on a couple of fields. So the audit gods will kill me. And but in June there'll be a much more meaningful report, I promise, because it will talk about everything, all the wonderful things we're doing. So moving on from there, any other business? The only other business really is the newsletter, and we've already got some input on this. Thank you for people there, but there is a particular channel on Discord if you want to add comments. As this is the last meeting, Tustin suggested this was a great idea to say that we're going to continue unfunded and to advertise. Maybe we could do a little bit of advertising on that to say we're going to be in Discord still. But if you have any other thoughts to add to that we could put in the weekly newsletter that's going to go out tomorrow, hopefully. And okay, if anyone has any other business. Vanessa.
Might be more for, informally after the meeting, but are we going to talk about whether we're going to meet for sort of actually properly meet, even though we're not funded in future?
I thought we could sort of discuss that after the recording. Okay. But yeah, so if we keep this official for the moment, and then we can discuss that after, we've got the work out of the way. If there's not any other business, if there's any feedback or any other concerns that people want to say, this is your opportunity. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, and that marks the end of the formal part of the meeting. Stop the share and stop the